Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to take a look at the SuperPad 8. This is a very affordable aftermarket controller for the Sega Saturn. I picked this up at my local independent game store for, as you can see, $12.99 plus tax. This pad is currently available on Amazon, for example, anywhere from, I think, new or used about like $8 or something, and then new up to like $19.99. Having paid $12.99, I feel that I've got my money's worth, but let's go into a little more detail about this product. Obviously it does have the similar button layout as the Sega Saturn controller. However, it feels a lot different in your hand. This is the packaging here. This one, let's see, what do we got in here? Okay, so I've seen this item labeled as from Interact, which I guess is like the parent company of Performance. You know, shown as Performance. Also, there was even I guess there was a Blockbuster version of this controller. So this actual mold and this controller itself has been re-released in different packaging, in different places, you know, over the years. And I finally, like I said, I just happened across this one at Cali Games, one of my local stores. And I thought, you know, okay, $12.99. If it's terrible, I'll come get a exchange for it. So I took my chances. And hopefully this video will help you decide if you would like to take your own chances with this item. So it is compatible with the Total Control 3, so it can be used for Sega Dreamcast as well. And it does have one feature it does not have. There's actually two features, rather, this controller has that a regular Saturn controller doesn't have, being the auto button, which is actually that's a turbo button. So if you turn that on, then you can, you know, pressing any of the face buttons will be turbo. It doesn't have individual turbo select, but anyhow, it's got that. And then it's got the slow-mo switch. Let's see if we can see. The little icon is kind of funny, what it has here. It's got this little man. He's the slow man, I guess. Anyways, so yeah, this is the slow-mo switch, which, as you might predict, is just pauses and pauses and pauses over and over again. So you can kind of, it's funny because I think those features kind of give away how old this design really is. I mean, obviously it's for a Sega, it's Saturn, so you know it's been around for a little while, but yeah, this controller kind of has its own history, I guess. Overall, it's not too heavy, not too light. It probably weighs about the same as a Sega Saturn controller. However, it's a lot easier to hold on to. The buttons and the D-pad itself kind of give that feeling like it's not super clicky. So it doesn't give you too much resistance. I would probably go out on a limb and say that the D-pad feels a little tiny bit mushy. That's the word that I would use to describe it. Mushy. I suppose I could try to show you some gameplay of me using this controller, but I'm not really sure what the point would be. You know, it responds as you would expect it to, and it doesn't have any weird lag or anything like that. I will say that the design, when you look at the contours of the controller, it's funny because the comfort level of holding this controller lies probably somewhere in between a Sega Saturn controller and maybe like an original Sega Genesis controller. It feels very retro in the fact that it's almost ergonomic, but its stylized design makes it not fit perfectly in your hand. I think that's something about retro controllers that's a charm that people don't really appreciate. Now that we've got all these controllers that are so very ergonomic and basically just fill out your hand very nicely and don't want to fall out of your hand. Something like this, you know, it's not quite so ergonomic, but it's fitting, I think, and it's definitely still easier to hold on to than the regular stock Saturn controller. Of course, I would prefer the other Saturn controller, the first party one, but I haven't ended up getting my hands on one of those, you know, like the Japanese one. And when I saw this, like I said, for $12.99, I said, let's go for it. So, yeah, I mean, that's about all that can be said about it. I've used this on fighting games, action games, all that. And yeah, it is compatible with the Total Control 3, so you can use it on your Dreamcast as well. Just keep in mind that for Dreamcast games, at least, if it's going to need an analog control, then you can't use this, obviously. But this is great for, you know, little platformers, shooters, fighting games, stuff like that. So there you go, guys. That's the Saturn Saturn Super Pad 8. Hopefully, if you're considering buying this online from Amazon or someplace like that, maybe this little review helped you to make the decision and go ahead and grab it, because I say it's worth having. Even if it only ends up lasting me, let's say worst case scenario, one of these buttons becomes unresponsive after a year. Well, you've only paid $12.99 for it, so I think I'm pretty sure I can get my value out of this item by then. So anyhow, guys, thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful, and we'll catch you next time.